How's it going, everybody? KG here. Today we're going to go through the TCL QLED 2025 buying guide, and I'm going to be your guide for today's video. So let's go with the first lineup. We have the budget QLED. Now this is going to be your entry into QLED for TCL's lineup. But first, I want to hit on the Q55K because it is going to be a 98-inch TV for $999. Now, this is just going to be a direct lit LED backlight. It's not mini LED, but you are going to have 4 HDMI ports at 144 Hz refresh rate, which is pretty good for a 98-inch TV at $999. Just don't expect the world out of the picture quality though. It'll be pretty good for what you're paying at 98 in for $999. Now, we go up to the QM5K. This is their budget QLED Mini LED. And this is where you're going to see a 60 Hz refresh rate with only 3 HDMI ports. So it is competitive to the price bracket that it's in with the other TVs because it is Mini LED. It is going to have, the backlight dimming zones, which is nice, but you're still not going to get the greatest contrast performance as it is limited in the amount of dimming zones that you're seeing out of this TV. You'll see that the 50-in is $279, the 55-in is $3.29, 65-in is $4.49, 75-in is $5.99, and the 85-in is $8.99. Now keep in mind, these are Black Friday prices. And if you guys are going to be shopping this Black Friday or any time period that you're watching this video, please consider using my affiliate links when you are doing your shopping. Thank you guys so much for your support. Now, let's get on with the rest of the video. All right, here we see a jump from the QM5K to the QM6K, and this is where you're going to see more dimming zones compared to the QM5K, but it's going to be less than what we're going to talk about with the QM7K. So this is still very much a value budget-oriented TV. It's like the entry level to QD Mini LED for TCL's lineup. It has slightly higher peak brightness than the QM5K, but it is going to be once again a lot less than what the QM7K is going to offer you. This does, however, have a 144 Hz refresh rate, so that is going to be nice if you are a gamer looking for a budget TV. And here are the prices. 55-in is $3.99, 65-in is $4.99, 75-in is $6.99, 85-in is $9.99, and the 98-in is going to be $16.99. Now moving up, you have the QM7K, which is going to give you significantly higher advertised peak brightness and many more dimming zones than the QM6K. So this is going to be a step up from the QM6K. So I think for a lot of people, it's going to be worth the extra amount of money that goes into the QM7K compared to the QM6K. The QM7K is a pretty decent TV overall. It's going to give you pretty good contrast for being a mini LED TV, and it's going to be a good bang for your buck TV. It sits there kind of like the U7 from high-ends. It's a good TV overall, and it's kind of surprising that it is the price that it is. So at 55-in, it's $599. The 65-in is $799. The 75-in is $9.99. The 85-inch is $14.99, and the 98-inch is $19.99. And quite honestly, when we're talking about the value for the money when it comes down to buying a TV, this is a place where a lot of you guys should probably stop. And a lot of you guys may actually just stop right here. And that's okay. This is a good enough TV for most people. But those of you that want a little bit more out of your mini LED TV and still recognize that when we get to these price brackets, you can get an OLED TV at this point for some sizes. You have to understand that before we go any further, because I do want to make sure you get the best TV no matter what the brand is. But let's keep going with TCL's lineup and show you more mini LED TVs. Welcome now to the higher end mini LED TVs. And once again, I must stress that you can get an OLED TV for these prices at these sizes when we're talking about the QM8K, when we're talking about the QM9K, when we're talking about the X11K. All right, so we have to recognize that. But what is going to be different about mini LED TVs is it will be able to get to higher peak brightness compared to an OLED TV, especially when we're talking about SDR. But that contrast level just will not be there. But those of you that still want mini LED, let's talk about the high-end mini LEDs from TCL. So we're talking about the QM8K, which is going to be a good step up from the QM7K overall. You do have a massive peak brightness jump here from the QM7K to the QM8K. And you're also going to get a new design, this zero border bezel design, as well as a wider viewing angle thanks to the actual panel itself. So not only are you going to get wider viewing angles, higher peak brightness, and a thinner bezel overall, but you are also going to get more zones, but not as big of a jump going from the QM6K to the QM7K when we're talking about zones. So it is going to be more zones than the QM7K, but that jump is not going to be gigantic like we're talking about QM6K to QM7K, but the difference in dimming zones may or may not be noticeable for some people. There is better contrast performance out of the QMK, but it's really just a peak brightness jump that you're looking at here and an overall better, wider viewing angle. That's why I say the QM7K may just be enough for most people. You're really not looking at a huge jump here. When we're talking about the QM8K, I saw the QM8K next to the QM7K. And I was honestly stunned that they weren't that different other than peak brightness performance. That's all I was really seeing. And then the wider viewing angle from the QM8K, which isn't as great as I thought it would be because you're still suffering with viewing angle even with this wide viewing angle technology. Let's talk about the prices for the QM8K. The 65-inch is $8.99. The 75-inch is $1,399. The 85-inch is $1,799. And the 98-inch is $2,999. Moving on to the QM9K. So once again, we are seeing a gradual increase in both dimming zones and peak brightness. Is it something that you're going to say, this is definitely worth almost double the price for the QM9K over the QM8K? I do not think you are going to say that. And personally, I haven't actually seen this TV in person yet, so I can't really tell you how the picture performance is. But from everything that I've heard about the QM9K compared to the QM8K, it really just doesn't seem like that value is there for the QM9K just yet. So you're just paying for more brightness here and more dimming zones than the QM8K. So if you want a little bit better contrast performance, theoretically, you should be able to get that with the QM9K. Here are the prices for the QM9K. In the 65-inch, you have $14.99. And the 75-inch is $19.99. And the 85-inch is $24.99. Now, the last one here is the X11K. I did get the privilege to see this TV up close and personal, and I was very blown away by this TV when I saw it in person. I like this TV a lot. It has a lot of dimming zones. It has a lot more dimming zones than the QM9K. It's going to be similar peak brightness to the QM9K, and it's also going to have an improved audio setup. But however, the viewing angles are not going to be as good as this doesn't have that WHVA panel. This is only also going to come in two different sizes too, so these are going to be some sacrifices you make with the X11K, but if you're watching straight on and you just want a really nice big TV, maybe this is a route you can look. However, this is definitely more of a premium option when it comes down to TCL, and it's not going to be the best bang for your buck, just like what we were talking about with the QM9K. Here are the prices. The 85-inch is $34.99, and the 98-inch is $49.99. Well, let me know which TCL are you guys looking to get. And if you guys are looking for more TVs, I covered a bunch more. Definitely check out those buying guides and the other videos I've done. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe to NextGen Picks, and I hope to see you in the next